Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? Perfect.
Hi, Nande.
Hi.
I can speak about 20 and P hello.
I don't know if it's just me, but I can't hear you. Are
We
you
can hear
breaking
you.
up?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we cannot hear you.
I can't hear you at all, Cynthia. Maybe we can give like people 5 more minutes to join in.
All right.
And while Zinzi sorts out her internet connection.
My audio right now.
Yes, we can hear you.
How's my audio? Can everyone hear me? Can I get a thumbs up if my audio is okay? If it's not, can I get a and they can it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
You hear me?
Yes.
And
We can
Yes.
hear you. Just go ahead. We can hear you.
very good. Clear. Clear. I'm doing here. 1, 4. Boom. Just 8 up. The funnel. Much 30th. Last
I think it's breaking.
Jenny. By having Africa leading minds coming to these leading minds are definitely going to be a fantastic discussion. But I could just with having question and answer toward a question, just even drop it down CQA. Just drop it down there and other keep just to make sure that if you're just joining us first, here at the African. Allow me to tell you of we are in do it. So at blockchain think of us for us in blockchain. So we are thinking and checking blockchain education, research around blockchain, people solution the content by us at African Blockchain Institute.
Oh, I think we lost Cindy. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know if we want to wait for Cindy to come back online or just move forward. Coyote, should we go ahead?
I think you can go ahead. Why would you connect? Please go ahead, Nande.
Okay, so I guess Zinti was meant to tell you everything about the Africa Blockchain Institute. When she gets back, she'll do that. Another thing she was probably mentioning, which I caught a little bit of, is if you have any questions, please put them down in the chat and then we'll address them in the last 15 minutes of the session. And when Zinti gets back, she'll be moderating the chat and making sure that all your questions, as many questions that we can answer as possible. So I guess I'll get us started, talk to you a little bit about what today's panel discussion is about, which is being held in alignment with the UN's theme for International Women's Day this year. So welcome everyone. Before I start off talking, thank you so much for joining us. We're so excited to have you, and Zinti's back. Glad to have you back, Zinti. But yeah, today we are discussing kind of the theme, which is DigitALL, innovation and technology for gender equality. And as we're here today, we're reminded of the importance of bringing women and other marginalized groups into the digital world in order to promote equality and advance transformative technology. And I should give a warning, I'm about to load Shed, and if you're South African, you know what that is. So if my network gets a little droppy, please give me some grace. We will move forward. The joys of being in the digital world, I guess. So since Africa's blockchain ecosystem is thriving, a lot of that can be attributed to a considerable amount of its success to the African women who work in it. And women in Africa have historically been underrepresented in the STEM sector. However, we make up about a fourth of entrepreneurship globally. And according to the UN conference this year, who emphasized how significantly underrepresented we are, it is also important that we understand that the underrepresentation not only limits our ability to make monumental changes in this sector, but it also affects women directly as far as economic and social empowerment. Last year, I think it was reported that it highlighted how women's exclusion from the digital world has also resulted in economic losses in low and middle income countries, which we know a lot of them are in Africa. So yeah, we're starting off today's talk kind of dealing with inclusion and adoption of blockchain. A lot of the women on our panel today don't just work within blockchain, but across the tech industry. So we have a wealth of experience here today, and I'm super excited. Welcome everyone to this incredible panel, True Leaders in Blockchain. These women are dedicated to empowering not just themselves, but other women in the space, making sure that no one is left behind. They embody the true spirit of Ubuntu and stay true to the African proverb that if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. And Amelie, I'm starting off with you. I practiced your name, so let's hope I nail it, fingers crossed. I'll be in welcoming Amélie Ebongué. Did I nail it?
Yes.
Perfect. Amélie is a after speaker at international events. She is also an educator as well as an accomplished author. She recently published a best-selling book on the impact of TikTok and brand marketing. The book's title is TikTok Generation, a Great Opportunity for Brands. Make sure after you've heard her speak here today, you go buy that, support women. And her passion has propelled her work with major media companies, luxury brands, and even top sports companies, including LinkedIn, Forbes Media, and just to mention a few. Thank you, Amelie. Can everyone just like send little applause in the little chat so we can see how excited everyone is? Thank you for joining us, Amelie.
Thank you so much.
Next up, we have Imane. Iman is currently a computer science engineering student, which is insane that she's doing so much and being a student at the same time. She is the founder of the Women in Blockchain Morocco and believes that women have a unique perspective and set of skills to offer to the blockchain industry. And she's committed to helping leverage their talents in this space specifically. She did all of this while being a student, which I cannot fathom. I can barely remember to like do my hair in the morning, but we're not all made equal. As well, she's also part of the electronics engineers student branch of electrical and electronics engineers student branch in Morocco. And so if anyone is ever in Morocco, if I ever travel there, make sure you go to see her, all of the events that she's handling there. She's doing incredible work within the space. Welcome. Thank you for being here, Iman. And it's NIFAOUI, right? Yes. I spent a long time practicing. So next up we have, I don't know, is Paulette in the chat? I can't see Paulette. If not, then I will welcome my fellow South African who understands my struggles that I'm having today, Lavina Ramkissoon, and I hope I said that right, who is a true icon and a trailblazer in the African tech space. She has over 20 years of leadership experience in IT with expertise in strategy, technology, psychology, as well as the integration into emerging technologies like AI, blockchain, and ethics. She has served as a chairperson, a director, and a founder across multiple industry sectors and technologies, and she's currently serving as the advisor to the AU. Truly a remarkable woman. If Paulette is not here, I guess I'll introduce her in the meantime, and maybe she'll join us. Paulette has an extensive CV. I could barely summarize it, but I'll hope I do some justice. Paulette Watson, she is an advocate in the digital revolution space and a managing director of the Academy Achievers, which leads the inclusion program, which is Black as a non-executive director, digital educational technologies have given her the
the blockchain sort of journey for me kind of really began with my love for tech. And, you know, that kind of led me into different aspects of it. One being on the research end, another being on, you know, the policy side of it. It really started basically around a startup that I was advising, which was in that space, and I was really intrigued, and you know, my curiosity got piqued, and I said, oh, investment side of it. So kind of a broad spectrum that I guess I kind of wear, but yeah. So you know, each and every one of us kind of have our unique journey. For me, I think it was just pure curiosity that started my journey. Amélie, do you want to maybe share your journey as well while we wait for everyone?
Oh, yes, let's do it. When it comes to my journey as a marketer in tech space, I want to say my big challenge right now is how can we shift our expertise from Web 2 to Web 3? How can we educate in a better way some successful brand to really understand the complexity of this new verse of internet? Because in the same, you have so many new emerging technology which are completely different from different parts of the world. So it's also a personal shift for myself when it comes to my experience as a marketer in some top big companies, but also for the industry, because right now the tech space, it's quite complex, but they also innovate very fast when it comes to massive adoption. So yeah, that's my journey.
All right, and there's Paulette. Paulette is here. You can please introduce yourself.
Okay, so that is subject for last.
Hello, can you hear me?
Well, has joined so much that Paulette joined it. It's part of which is here today, and it Nande here. Lavina and I were just talking to us about sort of journey to the chain, and let me just sort of ease you to it. And Paulette, if you tell us, share with us the question hires.
I'm so sorry, I cannot hear your voice at all. Could you just repeat that, please?
Paulette, I think to start, you can please introduce yourself.
I can, sorry?
Introduce yourself.
Introduce yourself, Paulette. Kind of
Okay,
like blockchain and
cool.
how you put yourself in the space.
Okay, hi, I'm Paulette Watson. I'm a global tech disruptor. First and foremost, I really apologize for the lateness. I'm having technical issues. I'm still having it, but I feel that it's necessary for me to share my journey in the blockchain space. I started probably 2000. I got into tech in 2003, got into the blockchain about 5 years ago. And literally, I just immersed myself into this technology. I saw the benefits that it had for women like myself, new to this blockchain. I was thinking, oh my gosh, it's new, but in terms of the financial aspects and how it can close the gender gap, I saw that it will bring financial inclusion, economic empowerment to women globally. And I was more focused in this financial tool simply because I saw the impact, the strong impact on how it could reduce poverty, it could increase education, and overall develop local communities, especially in terms of what I'm doing. I see how blockchain has can leverage, especially for women, getting them involved more. So that's how I started in getting into blockchain.
That's great, Paulette. And everyone's having technical difficulties today. You're not alone, so don't worry about it. I don't know what I missed, but I don't know if Imane, if you've had a chance to talk about your blockchain journey.
Yeah, sure. Actually, my journey in the blockchain industry started with a passion for exploring emerging technologies and curiosity for how they could be used to drive positive change. And I've only come across the blockchain field like 7 months or 8 months ago. So as I learned more about the blockchain, I quickly became fascinated by its potential to disrupt traditional industries and create more decentralized and equitable society. So I recognized early on there was a significant gender gap in the industry, and I founded Women in Blockchain Morocco to promote diversity and inclusion in this space. So through my work with the Women in Blockchain, I've had the opportunity to collaborate with a wide range of individuals and organizations across my country. Actually, we're still limited for now, but we're aiming to work with organizations across Africa and around the world. So this experience has reinforced my belief in the power of community and collaboration to drive innovation and create a meaningful change. Yes.
Yeah. I think a recurring theme and achieving so much already. Great work. Amélie, you are like in the media and like new technology, new digital media space. How did that transition happen into blockchain?
Well, I didn't become personally, first of all, because if you wait from company when they're going to decide to educate you and to empower you, you're going to wait so long. So I started by myself, and I tried to understand how blockchain can solve problem and end poverty. I'm also agree with Paulette, because it makes a lot of sense. And it's also like how the blockchain ecosystem can solve day-to-day problem in general, and especially in Africa when it comes to Cameroon, the country where I'm originated from. We are looking to how can we educate the young generation, because everything starts from education. If you can't educate people, you can't really create something magic or important with a significant impact.
Completely agree. And one of the things we talked about earlier this week, as far as education is concerned in this space, is the common misconception that happens, which is we say blockchain, people hear cryptocurrency. I know, Imane, you mentioned that having that difficulty as well. So I'm curious, especially you, Imane, you're trying to attract new talent into the space, young people who are mainly engaging with blockchain on like their phones, on like Twitter, like social media, and that is primarily cryptocurrency. So I just want to know, like, did you find similar perceptions? Are you having the same issues? And how difficult or easy was it to attract people to a blockchain community? Imane.
Yes, I guess one of the biggest challenges like facing the blockchain industry is the confusion between blockchain, Bitcoin, and all the cryptocurrencies. So many people, especially those outside the industry, tend to use these term interchangeably, so which can lead to a misunderstanding and hinder in the adoption of blockchain technology. So Bitcoin is cryptocurrency that operates on a blockchain network, but blockchain technology itself, it's such more than just a platform for digital currencies. Blockchain is a distributed ledger technology that can be used for a wide range of applications, including supply chain management, digital identity verification, and decentralized finances. And because of this confusion, like people may view blockchain as a risky or volatile investment, like Bitcoin, which can deter them from exploring its potential benefits. So additionally, the misconception that blockchain is only used for cryptocurrencies may limit its adoption in other industries, where it can bring significant value. And actually, I had some problem with the girls at first, with the ladies, but after that, things becomes clear and easygoing.
I mean, anyone can jump in at any point, obviously, but I know, beyond perception, there are like multiple barriers to adoption and inclusion of blockchain technologies. And it's a great ecosystem. So it's so sad that all we see is like cryptocurrency. And I'm just curious, as far as like dealing with Africa at large, and although we're not a monolith, what are some of the frictions that you and your peers in the African Union are facing as far as adoption and inclusion are concerned?
Yeah, I think, the sort of segue that the lady started with is quite an interesting one, which I think we've all noticed quite widely across the continent. So literacy and awareness is definitely one of those barriers. I think upskilling is another barrier. So, how quick and fast can we actually maintain those skills or even get those skills, right? But in terms of the applications that we need to kind of really get our heads around, it's kind of much wider than just crypto, right? So crypto is just the one use case. We have things like DeFi, we have things like CeFi, we have Web3, we have smart contracts, we have, CBDCs, we have digital tokenization. So, and of late, probably I would include digital identity in that. So all of those things kind of play such a larger role in the bigger sort of picture. Barriers to entry is, one is regulators play a very difficult role, and that role is merely and a guidance perspective. And, everyone kind of turns to a regulator and say, where to next? And it's almost, a case of everyone kind of really working together. So bringing that entire ecosystem, whether it's big tech, whether it's, the regulators, whether it's individuals, whether it's startups, whether it's larger corporates, everyone kind of needs to have a say in terms of how all of this shapes at the end of the day. So another barrier, for example, is the understanding of frameworks. So we don't have much of a framework within the Africa context when it comes to the applications of blockchain. Another area is investments, for example. We see very minimal, investments going into blockchain, even less to women in that space, right? So I guess there's a few, but the happy note, I guess, for me is we've pretty much started off, for example, with data privacy, which is quite a large contributor to the sort of blockchain space. So we started off with about 6 countries that basically had some form of a data privacy policy, right, in Africa. And to date, we probably have about 28. So it's quite large in a short space of time. So regulation has moved. Yes, it has changed. So from that perspective, it is starting to filter down.
And that's great to hear that there's still movement, even though there's a little bit of friction. We're still advancing in the space, and women are at the forefront of it. I love hearing that. And I think, Paulette, because we just talked about literacy and education. I don't know if you can hear me, Paulette. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. On the conversation of education, since you have your Academy of Achievers in Ghana, I'm curious how you think we can address this from the education front. Exactly how can we make sure that there isn't underrepresentation of women in the space and that we're bringing them in on the conversation, not just, occupying spaces on like career in blockchain, but that we are also developing the technologies that speak to the needs of women and women and girls.
Yeah, I mean, just to reiterate what everyone has said, literally, we see that there is a disparity, especially in fintech and blockchain, and it's even more pronounced. And we know that women make up only 7% of the global fintech founder community, and just only over 1% of the 40 billion raised in 2019 went to women founder startups. So why am I saying this? How do we address this? Okay, so to address this problem, we do need to feature more women. We need more mentors. We need more role models to know that there are women who are succeeding in this space. We cannot be or continue to be invisible. We need to be visible in the fact that anything that we do, we need to be shouting from the mountaintop to empower more women. This is what I'm doing across the globe. I've just got back to Ghana and I'm having problems technically, but it's not a problem. We are still shouting about this. We are still saying that, how do we get involved? And with the BME Digital Inclusion Programme, we are supporting our women in Ghana and even across the globe, London as well. We are teaching them skills like the basic skills of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Python, just to whet their appetite, creating that literacy, that technical literacy, letting them know that actually, once you get involved, understanding the technical landscape, it's not that bad. So it's about empowering them, and also we don't always need to have these that women in blockchain panel. Hear me out. The reason why I say this is that we need to also embrace entrepreneurs, investors, developers, reporters, having us on the same platform and discussing our skill set, because you don't have to be technically or have technical experience to get into blockchain. Yeah, it's about understanding the different communication skills. It's about understanding how we network, how we get involved to and have access to social capital. And this is what I've been doing with the BME, even in Ghana. Every month we have a Tech Tuesday. And what we do, we talk about Web3, we talk about the metaverse, we talk about blockchain, smart contracts, Ethereum, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. We explain what they are. And then we do different case scenarios so they understand how to get involved. So what I'm noticing in this space is the more we empower more women like to talk like myself. And I'm only using my personal lived experience. I talk a lot. And every day I get an opportunity. We talk. And what I'm doing is I'm bringing women along. And it's infectious. So we can address this underrepresentation. It doesn't have to, we can close this gap sooner than what we think. And we have amazing women across the globe. Look, even on this panel, I'm hearing the amazing work being done. And we're experiencing the same challenges, but I believe we can overcome it. So we're building a ecosystem, yeah, where we're changing the landscape of where it's just men dominated, because women add value. We add value and we can create economical value, especially when you look at the World Economic Forum. There's going to be 95 billion automated robotic jobs, right? We cannot be left behind. So having these spaces, having these talks, this conversation, empowering women, this is how we're going to address it.
Completely agree. You've like invoked like a revolutionary, and I agree. I talk a lot too, so I get that. And it's so important that we're bringing each other along on the conversation. And Amélie, do you want to say something? Because I can see you have all your energy up, and I'd love for you to add kind of like your perspective. I think I'm a millennial, and I took forever to even like download like TikTok, for example. And I'm just curious, like, how can we leverage this new like social media space to kind of reach the younger generation and bring them along as we kind of go into this?
Yeah, that's a great question. And well, when it comes to the platform, we have like a tokenization system, like you can own a video as a token, as an NFT. That's the point. You also have the user who decide to educate their audience when it comes to crypto, blockchain, SEFI, DeFi, everything. Because right now, TikTok is not only a social media platform, it's an entertainment platform where you can educate, inform, play, learn. You can do everything when you want. But when it comes to the audience right now, how can we educate in a better way? You have TikTok as well. That's a first way. But you also have some different channels. I know that Telegram and Twitter is going to be very huge when it comes to the global blockchain ecosystem. You have 3 different platforms who are really huge right now. It's Telegram, Twitter, and also Discord, because it's coming from the gaming industry. And right now, some of the other industry try to be more like general on this kind of general platform. But yeah, the different audience are everywhere globally, but they decide to address their message in different platforms.
And that's great. And I think something, Lavina, you mentioned in our talk earlier this week, which I have the same problem. I have tunnel vision, and I think about like the youth and the youth being like the future, but you talk about like ageism and how that is also a hindrance in the space, is that if we focus primarily on like Gen Z or millennials, we miss out on a great demographic who have acquired skills in other fields and that they can bring that across. So I'm curious, from your own perspective and as a policy advisor, how can we bridge that gap? Make sure that, you know, as we move into the 4th industrial revolution, no one gets left behind. Everyone has a place in blockchain and like STEM at large.
Yeah, this kind of really speaks to the deep-rooted sort of mindset that we've had of ourselves, right, as Africa. And we've largely catered our products, we've largely created our services for everyone but our largest population, right, which is the youth. So, you know, if you traditionally look at the financial services space, how many products actually talk to an 18.8-year-old? Minimal to none, right? So, you know, if that's our target audience and if that's our average age in Africa, so, you know, what's the reason for us having to leave out such a mass population, right? That's the first. The second is access. So access to internet, access to education, access to infrastructure, access to creativity so that they can build, right? So it's like such a combination of things. And I think ageism in itself is something that we've managed to bring upon ourselves just as a way of classifying or further belonging to something. And in the larger sense of it, we actually really don't need it, right? Because at the end of the day, I am Africa and Africa is me, and that's it, full stop. right? So, if we kind of have that mindset, it becomes one where we're actually just navigating the space for each and every one of us, right? Irrespective of gender, irrespective of age, irrespective of, our cultural backgrounds, irrespective of language differences, whatever the case may be, right? And that automatically gets eliminated. But from a policy perspective, yeah, sure, there's absolutely lots that we could be doing. Policies at work and policies in big techs or corporates, you could be changing that narrative, right, of how you actually deal with it. For example, how much flexible to incorporating a 14-year-old to kind of navigate into that space and become an entrepreneur from that time, right? Or even a 20-year-old, so like those support structures that we need to start putting into place equally needs to be there. And the flip side of it is true as well, right? I mean, we sit with a larger, silver economy for a lack of offending anyone, but, so we have that, right? And similarly, they need to be accounted for. And, we can't allow for that to be negated in any, in any form. So again, I think, there's a lot that we can do. And, for me, I always say that it starts at the dinner conversation. So, if you can actually start there, because Africa is largely based on community, and this is how we love doing things, right? And talking is absolutely one huge part of it. So, start at the dinner table and let's educate ourselves around it, whether it's a young teen that's, advising the family about something, or whether it's, a parent that's in the space and kind of learned something new or read a cool headline or whatever the case may be. I think that cross-intersectionality needs to really come through.
I think that's a great point. Africa is largely based on community, and that is so important. And I don't want to keep being on you and putting you on the spot, but an issue that I come across, I always say, like, I'm a Pan-Africanist at heart. I believe in like the African dream more than like just the South African dream. And I don't see how policy is kind of moving that direction. I don't see the collaboration. We all suffer from kind of like wanting to be the coolest kid on the block, wanting to be the first to develop something. Do we have policy to make sure that there's collaboration? Because apart from just wanting to be the best, there's also real infrastructural issues that prohibit us from having interoperability of just like our systems across the continent.
I love this question because I exactly had that question and that mindset before I got involved in policy, right? And that's probably one of the reasons why I got involved in policy, because I was so, on the outside where you kind of don't see it, you don't hear it. And then all of a sudden you see, oh, okay, someone passed a new policy. What does that mean for me?
Yeah.
So, just to kind of break that mindset, it was, we literally have to be able to allow ourselves to get into that space of saying, it's just not about me, right? And beyond that, it's how do we take the technology that's there? How do we find the correct use cases? How do we then apply that to our localization, right? Because a lot of what happens across the continent, and we all have felt it, is the non-localization aspect, right? And that comes with its own, nuance of tech colonization, right? And we all probably can speak to that to some degree, but it's literally an area where, again, it is far-fetched and it is far removed, but I think that regulators are more than welcoming into that space for anyone to get involved. That's the first. The second is, for example, if we just had to stick with the data privacy policy, right? So we went literally from, 6 countries to 28. Within that now, there's already talks and agreements in place between countries that exist for sharing of that data and sharing of that information, where it's not a breach of, any of policies that may get exchanged across the way. So, from an African Union perspective, it's very much setting that guideline, and then it kind of gets filtered down into each of the different countries. But, Africa is unique. It is, especially from a policy perspective, we see the north of Africa adopting very different to the southern parts of Africa, to the west, to the east, to the central, right? Each one has their absolute unique way of doing it. If we have to take CBDCs, for example, which is the central bank, digital currencies, and, converting our normal tangible fiat money into, something that's digital, each one again has a different system, has a different blockchain platform that they want to utilize, has a different application, has, different policies that they want to kind of, put into place. So it makes it a bit difficult just purely because Africa has over 2,000 languages, and we kind of need to be very inclusive and be very respectful of that. And hence, the sort of different approaches kind of exist at some point. However, the AU is starting to play a bigger role in terms of bringing and collaborating all of that together.
Really great point. I love conversations about policy, and I could spend all day talking about just like blockchain and women in general. I did say already, I talk a lot, but I'm running out of time. So because we started late and technical issues, living in a digital world such as life. But I just kind of, before we wrap up everything, Amélie, I want to go to you and Imane, give you a chance to talk about like the future of this space, what you think the developments are going to be, especially as far as women are concerned. How are we moving beyond just having these conversations? How exactly are we making sure that things are actually moving forward? I think we've had conversations about inclusivity since I've been born. And so it's a persistent issue, but we're developing new ways to get at it. And so I'm going to start with you, Amélie, and then I'm going to you, Imane.
Yes, for me, the first point is about education. I think everybody should be proud to understand how everything is going very fast in the same time, but also to be able to educate other people around them. When it comes to the second point about the global industry, when it comes to tech, specifically to tech, it's a huge crisis right now. But when it comes to crisis, some opportunity comes. So we need to be aware and open mind of the different trends what's going to emerge after this crisis. And the last point is to connect, to deeply connect, because blockchain is also networking, and it's important to understand how everything's work and to adapt into the best world.
Great point. Such a complex question, complex way of thinking of things. So complex answer, I guess. Imane, I don't know if we've lost Imane. Is she still here? Okay. I guess we'll catch up with her later. Paulette, I want to talk to you because you're dealing with the kind of like the skills. You're seeing what skills women have in this space. You're dealing with the people who want to be in STEM. What does the future look like? How can organizations make sure that they are, including as part of their strategy, that they're attracting like women who are, in STEM, making sure that it's part of a kind of their recruiting strategy and that they're not forgetting that we even exist?
Okay, so this is a really good question, actually, and it's something that I'm really passionate about. So for me, I think the skills and experience that women can bring to the blockchain industry is literally, what we're doing is we're working with, we want 1 million girls, yeah, across the globe. And in order for them to be successful, we are looking at some of the girls who are working with us come with a marketing background, right? And some of them are an excellent addition to our team. And the reason being, with that skill, that marketing background, they are adept at analyzing and understanding current market trends, understanding the needs and opportunities. They are quick to learn and apply new skills, and they understand how to connect with others and reach target audience. So that's a key skill, yeah, marketing. Another key skill is crypto needs women who's got communication skills because understanding cryptocurrency is very, very confusing. And if it's not explained well, you can get lost. I personally believe women can change that. We have the natural ability to present crypto information in a way that the public can connect with and understand. So my encouragement is women, just dive in because we are good explainers. We're very good at that. We also, the industry or how how organizations are working with us, they're working with us and they're helping us build community, building the skills. So they're sponsoring us and we have our own BME, digital inclusion, women-led teams, okay? And what that means is that a lot of the women in there are community builders. For example, for April, they are going to be leading on the Earth Day, which is going to be the 24th or 22nd of April, and that's getting involved with climate change, yeah? So they are driving that initiative. So that's how they're getting involved. Another benefit is that, which you guys alluded to already, was social media talent, using those skill sets. So even though there is a gap in this system, right, women are still educated, they're still qualified, and we can leverage on those transferable skills and get them involved in the blockchain industry. A lot of the companies that we work with, they're saying that, you know, it's lovely that they've got men, but sometimes men are very technical, yeah? And that is not adding value, because women, they need women that are going to use the product, are users, and they need women to be able to communicate with them. And they need women developers who can develop the algorithms, who can understand computational thinking, yeah, who can problem solve. We need women behind, above, on top. Everyone just needs women. And there's a thing I would always say, without women, there is no balance. So women need to be included in this. So it is really important that we leverage on those skills and capitalize on it in order for us to create an economic and financial value to the globe, because without that, like you said before, we're going to be left behind. So those are the skills that we could bring, as well as the technical skills as well. I mentioned already HTML, CSS, Java. If you want to get to develop the Ethereum, you're going to need to know how to use Solidity. Even if you're going to start off C++, C#, JavaScript. I love JavaScript. Oh my goodness, I love Python. I love it all. And it's going to take time. I've been in Ghana for the last 2 years, and we've been taking our time, and what the outcome is phenomenal. This year, we're going to be working closely with organizations like KPMG, both in Ghana and the UK. Sienna, who's sponsoring us, who I want to get more women into this space. So the future is very, 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 very bright.
Thank you so much, Paulette. I've run out of time. I have like 1 minute and a little left. I feel like I could have this conversation really forever. So I guess in closing, I want to thank each and every one of you for taking your time out of the day to have this conversation. I think we are slowly but surely getting where we need to be, and the importance of just even having these conversations is undeniable. More women get exposure and awareness of even the space. I think I didn't even know like blockchain was a thing until I want to say like 2020 or something like that. So it's so important that we are bringing awareness and we're thinking about inclusion as we move forward. So I maybe have a minute to get like a final word from each of you, like something to leave the audience with, something that you want to just say. I'll start with Imane.
Okay, I guess I'm going to start with a small advice for women who are hesitant about getting into this blockchain. I advise them to start small, just by learning the basics of blockchain technology, its use cases and potential applications. There are many online resources available that offer free courses, tutorials, and webinars. Joining a community or a network such as a Women in Blockchain Mother community can also provide a supportive environment and mentorship opportunities. So additionally, attending events also or hackathons focused on blockchain can be an excellent way to connect with others in the industry and gain hands-on experience.
That's great. Amélie?
Well, she said everything. Be educated, inform yourself, don't hesitate to network and connect with each other, but also try to observe what is your main interest. For my example, personally, I love NFT, I love creator economy. I'm also passionate about the ownership when it comes to land, especially in Africa, because I truly believe that blockchain can solve a lot of land ownership, especially for marginalized people, and some clean tech space and well-educated people. So yeah.
Thank you, Amélie. Lavina?
So for me, I think it's just stay curious. It's something that's kept me sane throughout my, 20 odd years in the space, and it kind of leads you into different areas, right? So don't be afraid. Don't be, just delve in and, allow yourself to be open enough to just learn, right? Because that's what's going to help you understand where you need to be or the kind of purpose that you want to serve in that space. So yeah, just be curious.
That's perfect. And I guess, Paulette, you have like 30 seconds.
Okay, so just literally these amazing women said it all, join hackathon, join meetups, just keep educating yourself, be curious, and follow the BME Digital Inclusion, follow us on Academy Achievers, Instagram, LinkedIn, and just get involved, really. They've said it all. So thank you for this opportunity and all the best.
That's so perfect. I guess we'll be taking questions. I think Zinzi, do you have any questions from anyone? If you have questions, put them in the chat and we can have the panelists quickly answer them. I know we're running a little bit late. African time. Everyone here should understand.
Nande, you've done an amazing job. Nande has done such an amazing job with this conversation. Thank you so much, Nande. We have one or two questions, yes, and from the panel, but actually the beautiful thing is, here's the thing, you guys have actually answered it in that last round. One of the quick biggest questions that has come from the group is, how do I get involved? How do I plug in, right? And Paulette, I don't know if you just want to add a little bit into this. How does a woman plug in, someone who doesn't have necessarily an IT background, right? What if I don't know Java? What if I don't know Python and etc.? Could we have that as the last question? That's been one of the most popular questions from our group. Paulette, I want you to have a go at it. I don't know if Lavina, Amélie, and the other ladies would also want to chip into that. How can we as women, if I don't have an IT background, what's the best way to plug in? What if I don't know about Python? What if I'm not interested in front end and back end and all of these things? Okay. Paulette, let me have you answer that question as we close off.
Okay, hopefully my mic should work and my video. So literally, all we did was, from the beginning, we set up the BME program, and what that involved is getting all women together. Nobody knew about blockchain. Nobody knew about Web3. Nobody knew about HTML. No one knew about it. So what I decided to do is we did monthly group sessions, okay, where we started to talk about, I started to invite other people to come and talk about the technology, what the use cases, what it involves. Then we started to grow. Then everybody started to come. Now what's happening now in our meetups, the women that started 18 months ago, they are the one who are leading the sessions. So now they're doing talks on the metaverse, they're doing talk on Web3, what it is, NFTs, big data, AI, they've just delved right in it. And all that happened was they came to our sessions. Then we started to do training, onboarding. We did 12 months of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and we created simple projects. Also, we did mentoring. We worked with tech companies who came in and supported these young women. So really, you have to have that mindset, a growth mindset, right? And when you come to our session, we always say failure only occurs when you give up. So in our group, you're allowed to fail, but you have to get up and you have to try again. So you cannot feel that, oh my gosh, sometimes people come and say, oh, I don't have the confidence, and they get it wrong. When we had the session, the girls were doing training, we were building robots, and they had to program it. So the girls were saying, okay, we got these Legos, what do we do with it? I said, just build a robot. They built it. I said, now you're gonna have to code that robot to move. We use Python. They were like, we ain't got a clue. I said, just have a go. I showed them once. Now these girls are going into our STEM camp virtually, and they're teaching our young other girls. So for example, the women who are 19 plus are teaching the younger girls who are 11 plus, and they are teaching them how to code. So you have to start somewhere, right? And always start at the beginning, and then you will see that you will get better and better. Create a habit. every single day, practice for 30 minutes. You will get it wrong, but it's about troubleshooting. It's about problem solving. And at the same time, you're meeting people, you're networking. And also what we do work experience. So after you've gone through our program, our mentorship, then you go and do some internship and you start to utilize the skills. So you've got to start from somewhere. And these girls, I wish they were here to even testify of their experience, because they will be able to tell you that it was very gloomy, but now they are the ones talking like me. So get involved, please have a goal. Failure only occurs when you give up. So come along.
Yes. I love Paulette's answer right there. It's all about mindsets, ladies. You heard what she said. Don't let that Python and Java and all those big word jargon sort of scare you away from it. And here's the thing, ladies. I think just by being part of this Africa Blockchain Institute conversation we're having, you're already on the right track. This is a new industry. Everyone is learning it as they go. We're all trying to figure out how best to plug into it. So just by being here in this session, you are already at it. So Paulette, thank you so much. I don't know if anyone wants to answer to that. If not, we can close off. I want to think the silence. There we go. Someone wants to chime in?
I mean, I guess for me, I'm going to say not everything that exists in blockchain is technical. That's something I want to kind of put out there. You don't necessarily have to be involved as a developer or as anything to do with the technical aspects of various roles within the space that cater to everyone, and there's space for every single one of you. So if you find that like maybe coding is not your favorite thing, you don't have the same passion for it as Paulette does for Python, and I do, I like Python too. But if you find that like maybe that's not something that you enjoy doing, that's perfectly fine. There are roles that are incredibly diverse. The space is really large. There is space for you here. Just come here and we'll make room for you. Every single one of us.
Oh my goodness, fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Nande, Amélie, Lavina, Imane, and Paulette, who just helped us have a beautiful 1-hour conversation to help us understand blockchain a little bit better. And here's the thing, at Africa Blockchain Institute, we actually give out these opportunities to help women and other people make sure that they're plugging into blockchain industry. Through our leadership of our executive director, Kayode Babarinde, we have 3 core priorities at ABI. So if you really want to be involved in blockchain in Africa, I should say ABI is one of the best ways you want to be involved in. I promise you, one of the ways that we are doing this is through education, research, and deployment of programs. So keep an eye on our website, follow us on social media, and see the best way that you can plug in. Thank you everyone for being here, for being part of this session. And we hope that we'll be having more of this courtesy of ABI. Go out there, find the best way to plug in, and guess what? You will find one of us, all these ladies, if not in the industry. So we got this. We got this.
Yes.
Women in tech, right? We got this. Okay, wherever you are, whether it's morning, afternoon, evening, to have yourselves a lovely day. Thank you, ladies. Be blessed.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.